Biomed Nexus. Daily updates. Your essential biotech, medtech, and pharma recap. No noise, just what matters. TLDR. The FDA issued a second complete response letter, CRL, for Replimune's REPL, RP1, vuselimogene odoperepvec, in advanced melanoma on Friday, its April 10th PDUFA date. The FDA maintained that the single-arm IGNYTE trial is not considered adequate evidence of effectiveness. Replimune CEO Sushil Patel said RP1 development will not be viable without accelerated approval, and the company will eliminate jobs and scale back U.S. manufacturing. Biopharma financing in Q1 2026 reached $22.82b, up 74% from $13.12b in Q1 2025, according to BioWorld. 3 cancer drug startups raised a combined $300 last week alone. Last week was the most consequential week in biopharma this year. Foundayo approved, Section 232 tariffs signed. At date B in new M&A, Gilead, Tubulis, Neurocrine, Soleno. Sanofi Lunsekimig mixed data. AbbVie Humira at 86% off on Trump RX. PHRMA CEO UBL stepping down. FDA expedited IND proposal, and now RP1 rejected again. Executive takeaway. The Replimune rejection matters well beyond one company. The industry was watching the RP1 decision as what Cantor Fitzgerald analyst Lee Watzek called a first indicator of how the FDA is going to act going forward. The answer is, the agency's skepticism towards single-arm trials remains intact. The IGNYTE trial showed a 34% response rate with a 24.8-month median duration of response in patients who had progressed on anti-PD-1 therapy, a population with few options. Melanoma specialists publicly advocated for approval. Patient groups pleaded for access. None of it changed the outcome. This is the second CRL for the same drug. Replimune's CEO said the company will lay off staff and scale back U.S. manufacturing. If that happens, a drug with 34% response rates in a lethal cancer will not reach patients. The broader signal for the industry: if you are building an approval pathway around a single-arm study without a randomized comparator, plan for the FDA to say no, regardless of the clinical data. Read full analysis, what to watch. Replimune. Type A, meeting. The company plans to request a meeting with the FDA within 30 days. Whether any viable path to accelerated approval exists will determine RP1's fate and Replimune's future as a company. Foundayo, Week 2. Lilly's oral GLP-1 enters its second full week of commercial availability. Early TRX data is the most important near-term competitive signal against Novo's oral Wegovy. Heart Rhythm 2026 MedTech Conference this month. Medtronic, Boston Scientific, and Abbott will present new electrophysiology and cardiac rhythm management data. Section 232 tariff negotiations. Companies are now actively negotiating MFN pricing and onshoring agreements with the White House ahead of the July 31st effective date for large companies. Expect more Trump RX listings. Biopharma IPO pipeline. Avalyn Pharma filed for an IPO to fund its inhaled pulmonary fibrosis pipeline. Kylera Therapeutics is also in the IPO queue. The Q1 financing surge, 22.82b, and strong M&A premiums are creating a supportive environment. Clinical and research updates. FDA issues second CRL for Replimune's RP1 in advanced melanoma REPL. What happened? The FDA issued a complete response letter on April 10th for Replimune's BLA for RP1, vuselimogene odoperepvec, in combination with nivolumab for advanced melanoma. This is the second CRL for the same application. The first was issued in July 2025. Replimune resubmitted in October 2025 with additional data and analyses, and the FDA accepted it as a complete response with a Class 2 review timeline. The April 10th PDUFA date came and went with another rejection. The FDA's position: the agency maintained that the Phase 1-2 IGNYTE trial is not considered an adequate and well-controlled clinical investigation, providing substantial evidence of effectiveness. It cited the heterogeneity of the patient population as limiting interpretability. The CRL also raised questions about the confirmatory trial, AGNYTE3 design, specifically around contribution of components for the RP1 and nivolumab combination. No safety issues were raised. What changed? Replimune disclosed that a different review team was appointed for the resubmission, replacing the prior team that had interacted with the company throughout the process. The new team did not meet with Replimune during the review despite the company's offer. A senior member of the original review team had publicly stated that the clinical team believed the applicant had provided adequate evidence, but leadership disagreed. Executive impact. CEO Sushil Patel's statement was unusually direct for a pharma executive responding to a CRL. He said, RP1 development will not be viable without timely accelerated approval, and announced the company would eliminate jobs, including substantially scaling back our US-based manufacturing operations. He added, a treatment desperately needed by patients will not be available, not because the medicine failed, because the system did. Cantor Fitzgerald had estimated $800 million in peak annual sales if approved. The Phase 3 IGNYTE3 trial, 400 patients, is underway with overall survival as the primary endpoint, but without accelerated approval revenue, Replimune may not have the resources to complete it. The broader industry read is clear. The FDA's bar for single-arm oncology studies remains high, and political pressure and physician advocacy did not move the needle. By the numbers, last week, 5B Gilead Tubulis, ADC Oncology, third deal in 6 weeks, 2.9B Neurocrine Soleno Prader-Willi syndrome, 400 militi, Anthropic Coefficient Bio, Biotech AI, 22.82B total biopharma financing in Q1 2026 up 74%, YOY, 8.54B medtech financing in Q1 2026, 100%, Section 232 tariff rate on patented pharma, 86%, AbbVie's Humira discount on Trump RX 50 days, Foundayo FDA approval timeline, fastest NME since 2002, 149-month, Foundayo self-pay entry price 34%, RP1 response rate in EGNYTE, not enough for approval, 38 Melons, Promaze 2025 lobbying spend, record, CEO now leaving, 22,940, drugs in global development, first decline since 1990s, the week ahead. Now Foundayo retail pharmacy rollout expanding, week 2 of commercial availability. This week, Replimune expected to request Type A meeting with FDA within 30 days. April, Heart Rhythm 2026 conference. April, Novo Nordisk Wegovy. HD US launch continues April 20th. Strategic Alliance Management for Pharma, Barcelona. Late April, Pharma Partnering US Summit, San Diego. Q2 2026, Gilead Tubulis, Gilead, Arcellx, Biogen Apellis, closes expected. Within 90 days, Neurocrine, Soleno, close expected. Read, full analysis, Biomed, Nexus Pro, Institutional Intelligence, brief in today's Pro, brief, the RP1 signal. What 2 CRLs for the same drug tells you about the FDA's posture on single-arm oncology studies under Macquarie Q1 financing, surge, Y2282B in Biopharma Capital, and 854B in MedTech signals an accelerating recovery last week. Recap. The 10 things that happened in the most consequential week in Biopharma this year, and what each one means for Q2 updated Catalyst calendar. Upgrade to Pro today. Read, full article selective, 2026. Sponsorship placements are available. Reply directly to discuss a partnership or submit an inquiry here.